right, everybody. It is time for the sail away party. I don't know how much of a party it's going to be, but I do have some booze here. So maybe we can have a little fun. At least I'll have a little fun. Hopefully, you will too. But anyway, we are talking about the new Mount Rushmore of Carnival Cruise Directors. And why do I say the new Mount Rushmore? Well, that's because the old Mount Rushmore is gone, right? At least what I would have called the Mount Rushmore. Two of my favorites, for example, but I believe two of your favorites as well. Those of you that have cruised a lot, my guy Lee Mason and my guy Cookie, love them both, tremendously. And Cookie stepped away from Carnival, and obviously Lee was promoted. Okay, so that still leaves one. I always talked about my top three, and one of those is still there, right? And another one I feel pretty firm and very strong about after recently cruising with him. We'll get into that discussion in just a little bit. I have Zoe with me, and she is excited because she'll hopefully get some treats today. And how that works, if you're new to the channel, and sorry, I am just going through the phone here and getting everything sorted, is if you do a $10 super chat, I give Zoe one of these, which she loves very much, right? You like that. But for now, I got little turkey bites to hold her off. But she's holding out for one of those big treats. So that's how that works. And then you get 10 raffle tickets, if you'll call them, thrown into the pot. And once we reach 100, we are at 53 right now. The people that super chatted last week, we have Kevin B., Uncle Dave, Joanne P., Detroit Fitness Nerd, and Joanne P. again. Those individuals combined to get 53 in super chats. Once we reach 100 today, we will do a drawing for a shirt like the one that I have on right now. It comes in different colors for those of you that didn't know, and we'll send one out to you free of charge. Covered, shipping's covered, everything else like that. And you can win one for as little as $1 of a super chat. All right, so let me say hi to everybody because there are so many people that checked in. So I guess we're interested in the topic, or you weren't busy or something. But we got Eric from North Shore Travelers, and we have Roderick Hawkins. So Eric got the gold, Roderick got the silver, and Will G gets on the podium with the bronze. Good to see you, Will G, Roderick, and Eric. And then we have Admin Tim. And he's saying, hello, all. You see with the little wrench beside his name, that's because he fixes all the stuff that goes wrong around here. So we love Tim and Cheryl. Cruise Live TV is here, and they were sponsoring the show that will be coming up November 19th. I haven't done a short yet on it, but for those of you that missed it a couple weeks ago, they got me to agree to wax my back live. It's as funny as it sounds, live on this show. So November 19th, days before my Thanksgiving cruise, I've already talked to somebody had to tell me what the name of this person was. Esthetician. Did I pronounce that right? Esthetician. I guess that's somebody that waxes you or whatever. So I didn't know their name, but I was informed that that's what you're supposed to call them. Okay. So the lady that does that, she's going to come over to my house and hopefully be able to fit in this little studio here. And I don't know how we're going to do it, how we're going to set it up exactly. It's going to be wild, though. So November 19th, make sure you're available to watch me scream in agony as hairs are ripped off my back via wax. So Cruise Life TV and Carnival Cruise Addicts, they both sponsored that show because they did 2 significant super chats that got me crazy enough to agree to it. That and a lot of bourbon. All right, so let's continue on saying hello to everybody. Mandy is here once again. Good to see you. And there's Carnival Cruise Addicts, who I was just mentioning. And we got Yoli back once again. Says, hola, coach. Hola, Yoli. And let's see, Ken Pascal is back here once again. Good to see you, Ken. T-Boat on the go back once again. Sandy, the Lost Pirate Jenkins, back once again. Great to see all our returners. We got Cheryl, as I mentioned earlier. There's Anne, who's hosted several bar crawls now, I think, and has had a lot of fun doing it. Beached in Texas is here, and they say, "Are you in a witness protection program?" This is the last week. I'm glad you mentioned that, Beach in Texas. The last week that you're seeing this. I had agreed, I don't know, call it lost a bet, whatever, that I was going to wear it for a month. And then I shaved it off after 2 weeks. And the person was like, "Hey, you didn't honor your bet." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't." I got caught up in the moment. So I said, "Okay, I'll grow it back for 2 weeks, and then I'll shave it off or whatever." So this is it. This is the last show. So for those of you that like it, it's going bye-bye. And for those of you that hate it, it's going bye-bye. So it's there you go. But no, I'm not in witness protection. Frankie Floyd is back. Good to see you, Frankie. Bless Nettie back once again. Richard Howard. All right. We got somebody semi-new. I think you've been here before, but not as much as some of the other people here. So welcome, welcome. Mike Anthony, another one of our Facebook admins, is here. Good to see you again, Mike. And he's got a cruise coming up in about half a year. So I know he's looking forward to that. Lou and Leona. Hi, Coach. Lou here from, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sure it's Metairie, Louisiana. I probably botched that so bad. But yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. We got Ben back. Ben is a Brewers fan. They are safely in first place, so I know he's happy. But good to see you on here again, Ben. M74 is back. Good to see you. Kimberly Lavelle back once again. Very, very good. And look at that. We got Sherry and Jay Bell back once again, and they are getting us started. And look at that. Not only are they getting us started, but they got us to the T-shirt drawing. So I'm going to put Jay and Sherry there. And they are 54 through 100, but they are also 1 through 3 because we only have 47 to go. So I'm going to put Sherry B and Jay down there. Yeah, so Zoe, come here. Get your first treat. High five for Jay and Sherry. High five. High five. What do you say to him? What do you say? She says thank you. And let me say thank you. As we are finishing up the Four Roses. You see, there's not that much left. We might get through that bottle today. But don't fear. I have a full bottle of Buffalo Trace ready to go, and we will do the shirt drawing here just as soon as I pour this. Also, have your cruise directors, your favorite cruise directors, and some story about them that you will put into the comments. But Jay, Sherry, they've been enjoying life, living life to the fullest. They've been vacationing around the last few weeks, so cheers to that. And once again, thank you both. Great way to get started. Okay, I will do the shirt drawing just as soon as I say hello to everybody. Let's see. I said hi to M. Kimberly, I said hi to Sherry. Yes, as I mentioned, Sherry and Jay have been traveling. Deborah Young-Reed, howdy back to you. Lou and Leona, Coach, are you one of the few that can pronounce the name? Oh, did I pronounce it right? Okay. Well, hey, you get lucky every once in a while, right? M70. I'm drinking beer. I am having a kid's dinner and beer. Oh, Emily. Okay, yeah, Emily. No, you know what? I have a girl on my flag football team, and we all called her M too, and her name was Emily. So I totally get that. So I'm sure everybody just calls you M. But if you'd prefer to be called Emily, we can do that as well. And look at this. Best news right there. Sherry is cancer-free so far. She went through a hell of a battle. Was fighting that tooth and nail for the past year or so, and wasn't able to gain weight for so long, and finally was able to get some weight back on and living the good life again, traveling around, seeing the world, having fun, as you should. And congratulations, Sherry and Jay, because you are a partner in that battle, I know. So absolutely. All right. And everybody's saying congratulations. So absolutely. Okay. Let me go through the numbers here. We have Kevin B, number 1, And then we have Uncle Dave, who's on a cruise. He messaged me today, and he was wearing his Coach Cruise shirt. And so I don't know if Uncle Dave's going to be able to watch this until later. But then we have Joanne P, 12 through 31. Uncle Dave was 2 through 11. Detroit Fitness Nerd, 32 and 33. Joanne P, again, 34 through 53. And then we have Sherry and J Bell, 54 through 100. And as you see there, there's just a moon with the time up there. And I'm going to ask Siri for a random number 1 through 100. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. 17. Who is 17? That is Joanne P. Joanne P is the winner. Let me put a star by her name so I make sure. And is Joanne here today? Joanne, if you are here, say woohoo in the comments. I don't think I've said your name yet, but she is normally here. So happy to see. I think she's a first-time winner. So okay. All right. Well, we just started another one, and the show is young. So last week we didn't give away a shirt. Maybe this week we'll give away 2 shirts. We just gave away one in the first 10 minutes. Okay, but let's get to the controversial cruising. Scott is here. Good to see you. So let me give you I had 3 surefire people on my Mount Rushmore. Okay. Lee Mason, Cookie, Kendall Fire. And the 4th one was tough. If I were to say when all 3 of those people were still working, I'm talking about Cookie and everybody. Man, that 4th one is tough. I cruised with several cruise directors. I thought Lawrence West did a really good job when I cruised with him. There are people that I didn't get the opportunity to cruise with that I'd heard good things about. But I would say the people that I actually cruised with, Lawrence, I feel like on the Carnival Breeze, when we were on that New Year's Eve cruise a couple years back, did a really, really good job. Jake, but I just cruised with him recently, so I couldn't even count him. But yeah, I would. That's like, kind of the long shot pick, but Lawrence had done a really good job as a cruise director. Now, here's the thing. Lee is gone because he got promoted to a fleet cruise director, and Cookie, we know, is gone. So that just leaves Kendall Fire. Now, recently, I got the pleasure and the opportunity. Many of you saw the interview I did with Mark Q, and Mark Q is awesome. Okay. He's on my Mount Rushmore. So Kendall Fire, Mark Q, those 2, I feel very strongly about. Now, as you saw in the picture on the thumbnail, Jackie Tang, I have never cruised with him, but I've heard really, really good things. There's some other people I've never cruised with. Georgia, for example, I've heard good things from. Cruise Life TV cruised with Georgia, said good things. I've heard good things. I'm following her now. I see the energy in the videos and stuff like that she releases, and she looks like a lot of fun. So, I mean, maybe she ends up on my Mount Rushmore of top cruise directors with Carnival. Lawrence, I mentioned that I'd cruised with that I like a lot. So, I mean, let's go through some of the comments here, because I can be swayed on my final 2, but I'm definitely putting Kendall Fire. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that one too much. I'm definitely putting Mark Q. I don't think a lot of people, especially if you've cruised with Mark Q, is going to argue with that one. But who would be the next 2? Who would be 3 and 4, right? I mean, I've heard good things about Leon. He's been on some of the XL class ships, and typically Carnival puts their what they feel are their better cruise directors in those positions. So let me give you some names here real quick. Louis Claire, he's been on the XL class. Leon, as I just mentioned. I've heard some good things about Savannah Mitchell, who's on the Conquest currently. Lawrence West, who I mentioned, is on the Dream. Joey Boys, he's an inaugural cruise director on the Frenzy. Mark Q is the inaugural cruise director on the Venezia, right? So, I mean, that's a pretty big honor there that those guys got. TJ Pardita has been on the XL class. Again, that's, you know, recognition from above. Gabe Coppola, he was under the tutelage of Lee Mason, I know, and I've heard some good things about him. I don't think he's quite, you know, reached the status of Mount Rushmore, but you know, he's one of those up and coming names. Georgia, who I mentioned, Jake Miller, I got the pleasure to cruise with on the Carnival Magic, and I felt like he did a really good job. And then as I talked about Jackie Tank, you know, like if I had to pick a third person and you know, somebody I hadn't seen or cruised with or whatever, Jackie might be the one. I know he's been prominent on the Carnival Mardi Gras, and you know, I've heard pretty good things about him. I haven't really heard anything bad about him. So yeah, so let's go through some of the comments, and it looks like we got a couple more super chats from some of you awesome people here. So let's see. Controversial cruising. Oh, check in from the Carnival Miracle. Scott is on the Carnival Miracle. Okay, awesome. Good to see. Oh my goodness, 15 days to Hawaii. Controversial cruising. Scott, have a great time. That is awesome. Okay, so Mike Anthony is saying, hey, you know, and I'm going to put a little star by Leon Smith, was excellent on the Sunrise. M74, Emily says, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that, M, because I forget so often to remind people to do that. And she says 31 people in here, but 17 likes. So let's get that going. T-Boat on the Go says, I loved Adam. What is Adam's last name? I want to get, I will write in Adam. And let's see. Cookie, Will G says, Cookie, Kendall, the Flying Scotsman, and Swartz. Yeah. Well, so Will, I mean, so here's the thing, Will. You're saying some of the people that are gone. So Cookie and the Flying Scotsman are gone, and Swartz. So I'm talking about current, the new Mount Rushmore, like people that are actually cruise directors right now. So maybe I wasn't clear enough when I was, you know, mentioning that. And Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts, Cruise Life TV, says Georgia is amazing. And I had mentioned that earlier, that they had been there. And look at that, Jay and Sherry Bell, you all are awesome. Let me write you down again, and we'll get another shot going. So that means you are 4 through 53. And let's get this shot going right here. And we just finished the bottle. Look at that. Perfect. Just finished it. Let's get Zoe set up. Zoe, come here. There, she was waiting right by that chair. High five once again for Jay and Sherry. High five. Good girl. What do you say? She says thank you. And thank you once again. And we'll probably get that second shirt drawing here. Finished off the Four Roses. And now we're going to open the Buffalo Trace, which is, two good bourbons. You all remember, well, you veteran coach cruisers remember when I had that bourbon I didn't like. I probably shouldn't mention it, but you know the one. I don't know. I just didn't like it. Just didn't agree with me. But I've been sticking to ones that I do like. And definitely the Four Roses is good. Buffalo Trace. And Liz, let me get Sherry and Jay back up here once again. And Sherry and Jay, thank you so much. Great to see you back. And then we have Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts. She says, you're behind on shots. Well, this is going to be number 3. So I'm not too far behind. And let's see, what are we, 19 minutes in? And we got 3 shots. At this rate, I'll have 9 shots in me by the time the show is over. So I think we're doing okay. I think we're on track to be put on the floor here. So we're doing all right. And I also have 2 shots in my cup here that I probably shouldn't drink too much from. But Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts, along with Chris, thank you all so much here. Mandy says, I love Jackie Tang. I'm putting a little star by Jackie Tang's name because Mandy loves him. And I would like to cruise with him. I love the Carnival Mardi Gras, and that's the ship that he has been on. So I'm hoping to get back on the Mardi Gras at some time. Let's see. Michelle says, we love Georgia. Can't wait to cruise with Kindle Fire again. I think I'm going to miss Kindle Fire by 1 week. I'm going on the Carnival Jubilee. I was so looking forward to seeing Kendall again and doing an interview with her. And she's like, yeah, coach, I think I'm going to miss you by 1 week. And I'm like, my God, she's going to go on vacation the week before, I think. So let's see here. Will G says Lawrence, Lewis, and Savannah aren't far behind. So if the first two are your favorites, then if we're taking active cruise directors, you'd have Lawrence, Lewis, and Kendall would be your three, and then Savannah would be your fourth. That would be your top four there. So very cool. All right. Liz, we loved Louis Claire. Okay, so I'm going to have to, that's a couple now for Louis Claire. So let me put a couple stars there by Louis Claire. And Will G had mentioned Lawrence, and I think that's the second Lawrence mention. So got a couple stars by him. Savannah was mentioned as one of his as well. All right. Liz says hard pass on Leon. Okay. I'd heard good things about Leon. I thought I'd cruise with Leon. It was either Leon or Dion, honestly. I think I drank a lot that cruise. But whichever one it was, they did a pretty good job while I was on the ship. Roderick Hawkins says Joey is there too. So let's put a star by Joey's name. And Will is asking Scott if he's on the ship yet on the Miracle, but that's going to be an amazing cruise going to Hawaii. Mike is talking about Leon being excellent. And Mike Dioria, I didn't talk about him, Mike. I know he was under the tutelage of Lee Mason as well. And we have Gabby Gamboa that was under the tutelage of Lee Mason, among others, and also Kendall Fire. She's now a cruise director doing great things, but I mean, they're just kind of getting started. So that's why I failed to mention them, right? T-Boat on the Go says Adam Gilbert. He was on Liberty when I was on. So I'm putting a star by Adam, and he is my first write-in. So Adam Gilbert is down on the books. Will G, Kendall, Lewis, Lawrence, and Savannah. Yes. And I'm 3 shots in. Emily says, I need another beer. I have several here. Count me in the drawing. Okay. T-Boat on the Go. I'm sad to say that after 19 days with Jake, he is not Mount Rushmore material. So he must have done one of those European cruises. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, T-Boat on the Go. I was only with him for a week. I had a good time with him. I mean, I can't blame your thinking on that, though. So, that's your opinion, your opinion, right? Rose Sharp sounds new. I don't think you've been on here too many times. If you've been on here, says, hey, coach, I've loved cruising with Felipe Cotto. I hope I pronounced that right, but I will write in Felipe. And what ship is Felipe on? But I'm glad that you had a good time with Felipe. M says, won't tell anyone what you don't like. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about with the bourbon, right? Let's see. Mandy says, I think Jackie's girlfriend works on the Celebration. Okay. And look at that. We got Eric from North Shore Travelers. He says, floor it is, bud. All right. So I'm going to put Eric, NST, and you are numbers 54 through 73. And just like that. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to, well, hold on. Let me back this up here. We need to put CCA on there because I forgot to write them down. So they are 54 through 68. Right? Yeah, 15 and 53. Yeah. And then we have Eric from North Shore Travelers. And that's going to make you 69 through 88, just like that. And we got to get ready to hit the floor, according to Eric. So, Eric, thank you, my friend. Let's get this shot going. Let's get Zoe back up here for her treat. Her treat is only going to fill her belly. Come on. She's not, we got to, like, remember Sadie? Those of you that have been around since Sadie would sit up here the whole time. This little diva, it's like if there's no treat in hand, it's like, she's going to hop down. But high five for, did we do, I don't think we did Liz and Chris. Did we do you guys? Let's see here. 3, 4, 5. I don't think we did. So we got 2 treats coming. I'm going to set this one. So first one's for Liz and Chris from Carnival Cruise Addicts. High five for them. All right. And then, wait, what do you say? What do you say? I'm sorry. What do you say? He said, don't take my treat away from me. But Eric, I got yours for Zoe. I got it on the table here, so don't forget. And Liz and Chris, I may have already said it, but whatever. Eric, thank you. And I'm not holding my bourbon very well today. This is only 4 shots in. I might hit the floor tonight, but here we go. We got Heather back. Heather is back from Wilmington, North Carolina. And welcome. Welcome back, Heather. Good to see you again. Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Okay. I wish Trevor Johnson from the Fun Squad would become a cruise director. All right. Well, there we go. Now we're getting into it. We're getting into the nitty gritty. And that's how most of the people become cruise directors, right? They're on the Fun Squad, and then they get elevated to, Lawrence West, for example. He was on the Fun Squad. He was on Kendall's Fun Squad, among others. Gabby, who I mentioned, was on Lee Mason's Fun Squad, and then she was on Kendall Flyer's Fun Squad. Michael Diori, I know he was on Lee's. He was probably on others as well. And he got a cup of coffee here and there before he became cruise director, right? And now he's a regular cruise director. So that's how it happens. So Trevor Johnson, that's their pick to click. He's kind of in the AAA, I guess you could say, in baseball terms, of becoming that cruise director. At least Cruise Life TV, Greg and Michelle think so. All right. Emily's on her second beer. Okay, you got to keep up. I'm on my 4th shot now, 5th shot coming up here, Em. So chug a lug. Jason Cool is back and says, hello, everyone. I'm late. That's all right. You're here. That's what matters. And let's see. M's hoping to get on the NCL the end of March. And Rose says, Felipe is currently on the Breeze, I think. I sailed with him on the Pride in Europe 2022 and the Victory before she was the Radiance in 2018. All right. So, all right, Rose, thank you for that. And so I think I'm going to write Breeze by his name there. And I gotta get Adam Gilbert's ship. I think I missed that. Will G says, did Robbie become a full-time cruise director? I'm not sure, Will. I was looking on the Cruise Mummies page of listed cruise directors, and she's going to need to update that, right? Because I was looking through, and it still had Lee as cruise director on the Venezia and on the Celebration, which we know is not going to happen now. So yeah. So I'm curious to see who gets, the promotions up into those areas. But Leon now has been on the Mardi Gras, and he's scheduled to be on the Celebration as well. You heard Mike Anthony tooting his horn, saying what a great job that he did. And Eric from North Shore Travelers says, anyone have TJ Pardita as cruise director? I mentioned TJ. If there's anybody, let me go through the list again. These are some of the cruise directors I've heard people talk about, or, I've known or cruised with that I felt are pretty good. Louis Claire has been, given some stars by some of you. Leon Smith, Savannah Mitchell, Lawrence West, Joey Boys, TJ Pardita, Gabriel Coppola, Georgia Craig, Jake Miller, Jackie Tang, Adam Gilbert, Felipe Cuoto. All right. And this is under the assumption that, everybody's cool with Kendall Fire and Mark Q being two of the four spots on the Mount Rushmore of the Coach Cruise family. And I guess I can, like I said, I can be swayed to who the third and the fourth best cruise director currently is. Like I said, it was an easy top three for me. When Cookie and Lee were both working, along with Kendall, boom, 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 those top three. And then the four was the only debatable one. Now, I feel pretty strong. Mark Q is my number two behind Kendall. But like I said, the three and the four spot on Mount Rushmore, I'm open to debate on that. So I'll probably do a video with my top four. And some of you now are giving me compelling reasons and opening my eyes up to some of your favorite cruise directors, which is the hope of this video today, live video, replay for some. But yeah, all right. So what do you want from a cruise director? Like, do you want personal interaction? Do you just want them to bring a party? Like, for example, one of the things that I find so appealing about cruise directors, and this is the reason that Kendall, Cookie, and Lee were so high up on my list at the very top. It's because they're so personal and they seem to be everywhere. I joked with Lee in the first interview I did with him, about there seemed to be like six of them, because he was all over the ship. Now, some of these cruise directors get criticized, and some of them rightly so, that you didn't see them. Now, obviously, they're going to be at all the events that they're supposed to be. But the thing that I liked about Lee and the thing that I loved about Kendall, when I was cruising with her for 3 weeks on the Vista when we first came back from COVID, is she's always walking around the ship. Even when she doesn't have an event going on, she's moving around the ship, interacting with people, and you get that personal connection. And the thing about it is, when you're on a ship with 4 or 5, 6,000 people, and the cruise director comes by and is like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Whatever." And you talk to them, the context of that conversation might, only last 10 or 15 seconds, or maybe even less. But now you have a little story, right? And you're going back to, who you traveled with or whatever, and said, "Hey, I spoke to Kendall Fire, or I spoke to Cookie, or I spoke to Lee Mason, or whatever." And, they said, "What's up?" And we were talking about what I ate at lunch, or so, whatever it is that you talked about in those little 10 seconds. And, I just feel like they were masters at that. So I loved the personal interaction. Like I said, when I cruised with Kendall, there's a couple times where she's like, "Walk with me, come talk with me for a while." And her and I went on a little walk, and we were talking for, a couple minutes or whatever, or maybe longer. And yeah, that's just in her own spare time. She doesn't have to do that, whatever. We were just talking about cruising, talking about, things that are going on, whatever. And, it's fun. And Lee, obviously the same, obviously some of you that have followed my channel for a long time, you've seen Lee and I out at lunch, having interviews and things like that. So, and then Cookie, amazing. He's just so off the cuff, spontaneous. You never know what he's going to say or do next or whatever. He's just so funny and engaging and genuine and everything. And all three of them, they're just amazing. So they were easy. My top three. The fourth was debatable, but yeah. All right, we got a lot of comments since I've been running my mouth here. So let's get back to see who we all have on. All right, North Shore Traveler says we have them in 2 weeks on the Mardi Gras. Okay, very cool. You got to let us know what you think about them. M says it's borderline spring cool weather in New York City. I live in New York. It's hot here in Chicago. It's been in the 80s, and it just doesn't want to get off the 80s. Mid to high 80s. I'd like a little 70s. Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Mark Q, cruise director, is great. I could not agree more. He is definitely great. Cruise Life TV. My blood thinned after moving south. Yeah. Yeah. It's up here in Chicago, we wear shorts in the 50s. And you all are in parkas and winter coats down there in the south. I know. All right. Oh, Bruce Motion Ocean Travels here. He's coming up next. For those of you that are not tuned into Bruce, Mandy says personal intersection. Someone I see on the pier when I came back to the ship, hanging with the fun squad. Oh wait, it went away. There it goes. Hanging with their fun squad, taking pics with their guests if they can squeeze it in. Yeah, absolutely. That's always. I mean, like I said, it's always great when you get that personal communication with the cruise directors, and it does. I really feel like it makes you feel special and stuff. So that's very cool. Eric says 86 here in Savannah, Georgia today. All right. Eric is in Savannah. He's normally in Minnesota, but all right, down south. Okay. Will G says would also like to cruise with Mark Q. Yeah, I'll be doing well. I mean, Mark Q is supposed to be on the Vista New Year's Eve, but I'm wondering if that will change now since Lee, was supposed to be on the Venezia. I'm wondering if Mark Q is going to go back to the Venezia, which is his inaugural ship, or if he's going to stay, on the way the contract is right now, and he's going to go on the Vista. I gotta say, I'll be a little disappointed if we're gonna miss Mark Q. I mean, I don't know who's replacing him, of course, but it's gonna be hard to replace Mark Q. I mean, obviously, I just dubbed him at least the second best cruise director, if not the first, on the Mount Rushmore there. So, being a little disappointed if Mark Q is not on the Vista for New Year's Eve, but we'll see. And then says, "Love my sausage pizza." I have a friend coming up this weekend. And, I mean, in Chicago, thin crust pizza is what the locals, that's what we have, but the so-called Chicago pizza is the deep dish pizza. I guess that's what we're known for with tourists. And I said, well, do you want the touristy pizza or would you like, thin crust pizza, which is what us locals eat? And she said, I want the touristy pizza. I'm like, okay, we'll get the tourist pizza. But if you come to Chicago, there's so many good pizza places. But I was talking with an assistant coach of mine's girlfriend, who's a chef, and she recommended Pequod's. Pequod's is a well-known pizza establishment. So if anybody wants deep dish pizza, that is a recommendation. I did not get paid for that recommendation, by the way. Michelle is saying Uno's deep dish pizza, and that's a good one. I've heard of that one. Lou Malnati's, let's see, Gino's East. There's so many good ones. Pete's is a local one around here. Golden Crust. I mean, Chicago just has too many good pizza places. Trust me. That's the first time I drank out of my cup there. Rose was hoping to sail with Lee on the Venezia for Thanksgiving. So happy for him and curious who will get. Yeah, that's interesting. It's going to be tough to top Lee, Rose, but I hope you do get somebody good. And I mean, you're going on a cruise, right? I mean, some people could care less about the cruise director. And then I think it's more of us avid cruisers that we get more intrigued by the cruise director because we do enough cruises that we just see the different personalities and things like that and see, like, I don't know. I didn't care as much about the cruise directors before I did the YouTube channel. But the more I started doing the YouTube channel, Coach Cruise and everything, I got, a little bit more interested. And then I could see, like, why so many people are so strongly opinionated about the cruise directors, because they definitely can bring the party and they definitely can change the mood of the cruise ship and, definitely bring the fun to a higher level. So certainly that is within reach there. So, I don't know what it is. I can't keep the comments up on the screen today. Sherry says we're going to be on the Carnival celebration October 6th. I'm so excited. Going to Nassau, Amber Cove, and Grand Turk. Grand Turk, one of my most famous, or one of my favorite ports, I should say. The bourbon is hitting me. It's real. Grand Turk, I don't feel like you even need to buy an excursion there. And all the vendors are screaming at me, shut up. Yeah, I don't even feel like you need an excursion, because you open your balcony door, or you go on the Lido deck and you look over and you see this gigantic, beautiful beach in Grand Turk. And you're just like, okay, can we go there and do that? And yes, you can. And if you want to pay for a couple loungers and an umbrella, that might cost you about $30 or whatever, but that's about it. And a little secret tip for all you Coach Cruise people out there that do the Cheers package, I've invested in a little 6-pack collapsible cooler that obviously collapsible. You can fold it down to where it takes up almost no space. And I can fit probably 8 beers, 8 of the tall boy beers, and still have enough room for ice and everything. And then, so the reason that's important is if you have the Cheers package and you're cool with your bartenders because you tip them, or, you know, whatever, you're really nice to them, whatever, they give you beers that are unopened. Then you can take those beers, put them in your cabin fridge. You know, like, for example, if you're only going to drink 9 beers or 9 drinks over the course of the day, well, that means you still got 6 left by the end of the night. If you get a couple beers, throw them in the fridge. Then when you go to port, and if whoever you're sharing the cabin with does the same thing, between the two of you got 8 beers, no problem, after a couple days. And you just fill that up. And then when you go to the beach, you already got like an 8-pack of beer right there. And just get some ice from the Lido deck or whatever, put it in your little collapsible cooler. Boom, you're maximizing your Cheers package to the fullest. And you're saving yourselves probably like $30 on a bucket of beer right there. And that pays for your umbrella and chairs, right? And so it's like you got your drinks, you got your umbrella and chairs, and you save $30. So that's one little idea that you can do. Let's see. Uno's may have. It's been a while since I've been to Chicago. Yeah. I mean, but there's so many good pizza places. Michelle says, and again, are they doing the 80s and the costume party on your October 6th cruise? That's a good question. I would guess. I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing they would be doing that, you know, because you're close enough to Halloween. You're only 25 days away from it at that point. So I think my guess would be yes, but I have no idea. Let's see. Eric says, Sherry, we will be on the Mardi Gras October 5th, going to the same ports. All right. So Eric, Sherry, if you want to check him out on his channel, he might have some videos up there of those ports and what they did, if you want to follow along and get some ideas. Yoli, who will be on the New Year's Eve cruise with myself and Cruise Life TV, among others, says we'll be on the Carnival Glory on September 27th, going to Bimini. And I'll tell you what, that is one of the ports that Carnival goes to that I still have not been. I've not been to Bimini, and I've not been to Bermuda. Those are about the only 2 ports I think I'm missing out on. I got to get to Bimini one of these days, and I don't know how I've managed to go on 50 cruises and not been to Bimini yet, but somehow I've pulled that off. I've been to Amber Cove, it seems like 80 times, and I've only been on 50 cruises. Don't ask me how that's possible. It just seems like that's the case. It seems like every cruise I go on now, I'm going to Amber Cove. Nothing against Amber Cove, but, you know, I'm just, yeah, I can, you know, do without Amber Cove for a while. But I'll probably end up going there on this next cruise, even though it's not on the itinerary. We'll see. Liz from Carnival Cruise Addicts, Liz and Chris, says 31 days until our next cruise on the Carnival Sunrise. New ship for us. Very excited. And yeah, you know, I mean, as a content creator, that's one of the things I've started to realize is it's good to change up your ships. And for whatever reason, I get deals, and it seems to be like on the same ship. like the Magic seem to be a popular one where they're giving me really good deals, but it's on the Magic all the time. Lately, and I love the Carnival Horizon. It might be my favorite ship, so that's one of the reasons I book it. Seems like I've been getting a lot of Carnival Horizon really good deals, which I'm not sad about. But when I do, as a content creator, when I do these other ships that I don't get the opportunity to go on as much. I do, like a ship tour and things like that. It seems like it goes over very well because obviously not everybody's going on the Carnival Horizon or the Carnival Magic or the Carnival Celebration. Some of the ships that I've gone on a lot, and yeah, so. Liz and Chris going on the Carnival Sunrise. We will be anxious to see what you think about that. M says, someone I know now, and she's Alaska now. Yoli is, I heard Carnival's going to stop going to Bimini once Celebration Key opens up. Oh, well, that means I got to get to Bimini right away. Oh, yeah. That's right. Eric from North Shore Travelers just said, we're only $12 away from the second shirt drawing. So he's saying, hey, somebody do one more, make me do, oh, look at that. And without even blinking, I see another super chat came in. Let me just go through the rest of the comments here before we get down to Cruise Life TV. But they said they do that on the Magic. It's a mix of both digital and print. Roger Hawkins says, just returned from the Carnival Firenze and going on the Carnival Liberty in 74 days. Very cool. M says, not sunrise, sunset. Excuse me. And Cruise Life TV, look at that. Got us over 100 CLTV. Let me write that down. That is 89 through 100. And then I'm going to put CLTV on the next page as 1 through 3 so I don't forget. All right. Zoe, you want another sheet? Oh, and Eric from North Shore Travelers. Come here, Zoe. I'm going to give her 2 at once just to keep her busy, right? So we got Eric from North Shore Travelers. High five for Eric. What do you say, Eric? Okay. And then we have Greg and Michelle from Cruise Life TV. High five for them also. What do you say to them? All right, so I'm giving her 2 at once. So she's gonna be busy for a while. All right, there we go. And I already did Eric's shot, so that means I just have to do Greg and Michelle's shot. So we'll get this going right here. I think this is 5 or 6. It's at least 5. I know it might be 6. But Greg and Michelle, thank you, and we got to do that shirt drawing. Wow. That one tasted stronger for whatever reason. Woo. Okay. All right. You see nothing on top of the screen there. Let's go through the numbers here. We have Sherry and Jay. They have numbers 1 through 53. So they have half the deck covered. Then we have Carnival Cruise Addicts, 54 through 68. Eric from North Shore Travelers, 69 through 88. Cruise Life TV, 89 through 100. And CCA and CLTV, I owe you a shirt because you guys all sponsored that, back waxing on November 19th. So you already have one coming just in case. All right. As I said, we got nothing going on there. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. What do we got? 56. That is Carnival Cruise Addicts who had 54 through 68. So they got at least 1, if not 2 shirts. So yeah, Carnival Cruise Addicts, congratulations. You are winners once again. They've won several times. But then again, they have been in the drawing several times. So they certainly should have won. All right. Cruise Life TV says, drink, treat. Not enough. Coach, you left me out. M, did you do, how did I leave you out? Did you do a super chat or something? I am so sorry if you did. I'm going to scroll all the way back through. I didn't see your super chat if you did. And my big apologies. I'm going to go all the way back through. Liz. Sherry. I don't see it on here, Em. Did you try to put one through? Did it say go through? Because it lights up or whatever. Super chat. It doesn't show anything there. So I mean, I don't know if you're referring to some other drawing. Oh, she says, okay, I understand now. Oh yeah, no worries, Em. No worries, Emily. No problem at all. So we are on the new drawing, and as always, if you do a super chat now, it will carry over to next week. So we have Cruise Life TV. They already have us started at number 1 through 3. So even if we don't get through it all, we will get to it next week. Kevin B is here. Better late than never. He says, hi, Coach. And Sean Abel is here. Sorry to hear about Bimini. It's a very unique port, and the island could use the business. Yes, I agree, and I want to go there. So Kevin is sick, unfortunately. That sucks. He's a teacher also. So, yeah, we don't want to burn up all those sick days this early in the year. So sorry to hear about that, Kevin. And, yeah, hope you feel better, as Cruise Life TV has just pointed out. All right, so, again, for all our latecomers, what we've been talking about most of the hour, when I haven't been doing shots and things like that, is who our Mount Rushmore of cruise directors would be. Will G, for example, gave, his list of 4 who would be on his Mount Rushmore, and then other people have just been saying who their favorite one is. We've gotten votes for Louis Clare, Leon Smith, Savannah Mitchell, Lawrence West, Joey Boyes, TJ Pardita, Gabrielle Coppola. Or actually, Gabrielle Coppola didn't get a vote, but I mean, it's somebody I've heard about. TJ Pardita did get votes. Georgia Craig, Jackie Tang, Adam Gilbert, Felipe Coto, Michael Dioria even got a vote, even though he's a newer cruise director. And, we talked about a couple other people as well. So those are all of the people that have gotten honorable mentions or votes towards being on that Mount Rushmore. If there's anybody we left out, who should be on the Mount Rushmore that we have left out? All right. So let me give you a would you rather, since we're talking about favorite cruise directors. Would you rather have dinner with your favorite cruise director or John Heald, the Carnival ambassador? Favorite cruise director. So whoever you feel is the best cruise director going, retired or currently active. So this could be a cookie who's not even with Carnival or whatever. Favorite cruise director or John Heald. So put either John or favorite cruise director. The name of your favorite cruise director or John Heald. Or you can put JH. Bless Nettie said cruise director. Kevin said cruise director. Michelle said John Heald. She interviewed John Heald. So, yeah, I think that's why. Liz says John Heald. Now, M74 says, does it matter about amount for the super chat? No, the super chat can be as little as $1. It can be as little as $1. That gives you one chance out of 100 to win the free shirt or whatever. Obviously, if you did $5, it would give you 5 chances out of 100. If you do a $10 super chat, that gets Zoe a treat. If you do a $15 super chat, that gets Zoe and me a shot. So that's how that works. But you can do as little as $1 and you will have a chance to win a free shirt for sure. So thanks for asking that question. Some other people might have had the same thought. Bless Nettie says cruise director. Cheryl says John. Ken says John. Tim says John. Jason says cruise director. And I'm curious who the cruise director is that is getting picked over John Heald. T-Boat says Heald, John Heald. Roderick John, Sandy John. It's mostly John. Cruise Life PD John. Sherry John. And M says, okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, no problem. And thanks for asking the question. Those of you that said cruise director, if you don't mind, could you throw in the comments who that cruise director was that you would pick over John Heald? Because I find that interesting. Yes, Michelle says John Heald is super fun. You would be laughing through the whole meal. Rose says John Heald because as long as the cruise director is active, I can still see them. That's a good point. Bless Nettie said the Flying Scotsman, and Kevin says Lee Mason. And I gotta say, I've had the privilege and the honor and the pleasure of having a meal or a couple different meals with Lee. So I've gotten that opportunity. I have not had a meal with John Heald yet, though. So yeah, I would be looking forward to that for sure. All right, and Bless Nettie said the Flying Scotsman, T-Boat on the go. John would have so many interesting stories to share. Yes, and John has shared many interesting stories on those live videos that he's done. All right, now here is another question. We're going to add a third person into the same question. Okay, so the first question was, so most of you have already picked John Heald. All right, so now let's just go with John Heald versus the Chief Executive Officer of Carnival, Christine Duffy. We're going to raise the stakes. So those of you that said John Heald, would you stick with John, or would you go to the very top? Who's running this whole operation? Christine Duffy. So Christine Duffy or John Heald? Who are you going with? Are you sticking with John, or are you going to go with the bigwig, Christine Duffy? All right. Jason says, I would like lunch with Lee in Puerto Rico, just like you did. Very cool, Jason. Thank you. And yes, we all had lunch in Puerto Rico. So for sure, that was cool. Cruise Life TV, Jason says John, but Cruise Life TV says Christine Duffy. Liz says from Carnival Cruise Addict says still John Heald. Cheryl, John. Bless Nettie, Christine. This one's a little more split. Tim says Duffy. Ken says Heald. Sandy says still John. Roderick Hawkins, John. T-Boat on the go, Christine. We might have to get Tim to count this up because this is pretty close. T-Boat on the go says Christine. Michelle says Christine. M says John because I don't know about Duffy, I think is what you're saying. Tony says John. This is a tight one. Tim, I don't know if you can count those up, but I would be curious how many votes we had for each of those, but I think it's pretty close. I think that one's right down to the wire. If I would to guess, I would say John's winning it by a hair, but yeah, maybe Tim can count that up for us and let us know. We are under 2 minutes until we hit this hour. I got to say, this was a fun little topic to talk about. I'm always struggling, it seems like, 2 days before I'm supposed to do the show. I'm like, what am I going to talk about this week? And then all of a sudden something hits me and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And so, obviously with Lee being named fleet cruise director and everything, I started to think about, well, wow, Cookie's gone, Lee's gone, like all my, 2/3 of my top 3 are gone. Who would be the top right now? And that Mount Rushmore, you always hear about people talking, and Tim says John by a hair. So John won the Christine Duffy battle by a hair. It was close. And I got to say, John is funny and hilarious. And yeah, it would be interesting, definitely, to sit down and talk with him for a long while. But it's also interesting to talk with Christine Duffy, who knows the ins and outs of the operation. And you probably might get some inside information, on what's coming up that she hasn't shared with the public yet. And look at that. Emily is on her 3rd beer. Cheers to that. Let me take a drink here. All right. And Liz is calling you out, Em. She is calling you out. She says lightweight at M74. What do you got to say about that? Will is saying good night, and we will be saying good night here in just a second. We're about to hit that 1 hour mark. I was just laughing it off. But yeah, it was a fun show today. Thank you so much for all the super chats, everybody. We had super chats from Jay and Sherry a couple times. Carnival Cruise Addicts, Eric from North Shore Travels, Cruise Life TV. You all are awesome. Love you all. Thank you all so much for that. And Joanne P was the winner of the first shirt. And then we had Carnival Cruise Addicts, the winner of the second shirt. So I know Carnival Cruise Addicts, they know where to find me on Messenger. Anybody else wants to find me, look under Brad Dowling and look for this bald head. Without this is going to be gone. This is the last week that you're going to see this, but you'll still see this, all this baldness here. So look for that bald head. And yeah, that's Brad Dowling. I'm the Brad Dowling with the bald head that looks like this face. So yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. It was a fun show, and we will see you all back here next Tuesday night. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.